We need more funding.
Sure. How does $1 million sound?
Also, the Performing Arts Department could
What do you think? We're made of money?
School funding goes to many different extracurricular activities on campuses. But how is it distributed? Who is getting how much? And is funding really being distributed evenly between the sports and the arts? According to USA Today, the Knight Commission says Division I schools with football spent $91,936 per athlete in 2010, 7 times the spending per student of $13,628. Division I universities without football spent $39,201 per athlete, more than triple the average student spending. Now, if only I could get paid $90,000 per year. They also said nearly every university loses money on sports, and public universities competing in NCAA Division I sports spend as much as 6 times more per athlete than they spend to educate students. Now, schools do vary quite a bit on how much funding goes where, depending on the school. Let's take San Diego State University, for example. The biggest department, aka the department for which the greatest amount of students are paying tuition, is the College of Arts and Letters. Probably because lazy students hear arts and letters and think they'll be going back to elementary school to color with crayons and recite the alphabet. Well, this department at SDSU is actually allocated less than the athletics department, and not just a little less. According to SDSU's budget, the Athletics Grant and Aid Program, aka Athletic Scholarships, is allocated $7.6 million. Most of that goes to around 60 to 80 students at a 34,000 student school. The rest of the 33,900 students are given less institutional scholarship money to split amongst themselves. They are given only $6.5 million. Another way to put the monetary amount that athletics receives into perspective is looking at the Equal Opportunity Program, which aims to ensure college affordability, accessibility, and success for low-income families. More than 7,400 prospective students sought admission to EOP for fall 2000. Continuing to be a high-demand program, EOP at SDSU averages serving more than 3,200 students and awarding more than $1.5 million in grants annually. However, EOP students have an unmet need in excess of $1.4 million. Now remember the $7 million that's going to the athletics department? Many of these students are incurring substantial loan obligations in order to meet their educational costs. The scholarship program is given 1/5 of what athletic students receive in scholarships. Give the kids an equal opportunity! Now, you may say that SDSU is very much a school that focuses on sports and not arts in their extracurriculars. Okay, but let's look at UCLA. They are well known for sports, but their arts program is huge, especially film and theater, top ranked in the country. Plus, college is all about the education. Sports and other activities come secondary to the learning, right? Now let's take a look at what appears upon typing just UCLA into Google's search bar. Really? Football? Okay. Basketball? Okay. But water polo appears before any academic-related searches? Now that's just offensive. Now, let's take a look at just how much UCLA really spends on sports versus their arts programs. Despite decreases in revenue from both its football program and men's basketball program, UCLA's athletic department still reported an increase in funding to the athletics department, according to the school's annual Equity in Athletics report. Why is it that even though UCLA's football and basketball teams are losing money for the school, and yet the school keeps pouring more money into those programs? How come the arts programs aren't treated the same way and even given the funding to be able to make the money that the sports programs make? Now, What effect does this lack of funding for the arts have on students?
Do you think the arts are adequately funded at our school?
Not too much.
How do you think the funding compares to the funding for sports?
Sports getting a lot more, and arts getting not that much.
And how do you think this affects students?
It kind of takes away from the opportunity.
I think art education is important, no matter if you're going to pursue the arts, whether as a designer, an illustrator, an animator, or if you're going to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer. A lot of the core academic areas or core academic classes, there is one right, one wrong answer. In the arts, there's a lot of interpretation. It makes you a more well-rounded person that's able to think and look at the world a little bit differently.
To support the arts, to support renovations in our theater and updating our equipment for the theater, to bring in clinicians and coaches to help, to buy new music so that we're really competing at a top-notch level because we have top-notch talent here at Westview. But oftentimes our resources aren't quite met for that talent. For instance, we're putting on our musical production right now, and we have this extreme amount of talent, but our budget is limited, so that cuts back on our costumes and our scenery and what we're able to bring in for the backdrops and lighting. Even our lighting, we're functioning at least 50% at most in our theater, so it really is doing the students a disservice.
Obviously, the first thing that high schools need to increase funding with is spelling, because every high schooler deserves to know how to spell the word ceiling. The next thing that high school should increase funding for would be arts programs so that students can perform without having to worry about a piece of ceiling falling on them. Cutting arts also cuts students' opportunities and creativity. When budget cuts are necessary, it is generally arts programs that get cut first, specifically theater and dance. In an article about funding public schools budget cuts in Chicago, Marina Lewis observes that, as schools across the country have faced budget shortfalls in recent years, a common cost-cutting measure is to slash funding for arts education. Not only this, but she also says that, with so little public funding, schools are now relying more on private funds and patrons of the arts to provide creative outlets for students. Now, of course, sports can be very helpful to the high school or college student, but sports education is also very readily available outside of school, whereas art classes and choir groups are harder to find. It is also much harder for students to find their interest in these types of art programs without trying out a couple of classes first. Parents may not be willing to pay for their student to take a week of expensive art classes if they may not like it, instead of them getting out and exercising in a team sport, because that generation highly favored team sports. Now, without arts in schools, many kids aren't exercising their mind in the creative way they should. And with the lack of funding that is taken away by sports on campuses, arts programs can struggle to obtain what they need to be successful, and sometimes are even cut from the school. The only thing scarier than this is,
Son, I just followed you on all your social media.
no! As we high schoolers move on from high school and onto college, we will find more and more money going to funding sports for not only learning, but entertainment, and less money going towards education and art programs. Now, we're not bashing collegiate sports. Sports are an excellent way for college students to stay healthy, and for some, sports can even be a career. Collegiate sports often foster school spirit because many students enjoy watching the games together. However, in this day and age of extreme tuition, schools should allocate student tuition according to what students think they're paying for.
On this episode of Keeping Up with the Administrators,
will Kurt confront Jason about eating the sandwiches?
I'm confronting you about eating my sandwiches.
Will Kurt get fired?
Kurt, you're fired.
And will Deborah cause a stir?
I'm I'm causing a stir.
You'll find out in just a moment, if you haven't already, on Keeping Up with the Administrators.
Hi, I was just accepted to the UCLA film program, and there's the $35,000 cost of attendance, and I did get the generous financial aid package of $10,000, but I still can't afford the $25,000.
Well, all you can do is submit an appeal.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, don't you have that report to do?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Excuse me, Jason.
What do you want, Kurt?
Oh, well, one of our best film school admits can't afford the tuition. Can we give her more financially?
Well, I mean, we don't have any money.
Yo, Jason, the football team wants to buy a car for every player. That cool
Oh.
with you?
Sure, man. Treat them with Lambos.
Cool.
Shouldn't the students that actually care about the football team have to pay for that?
Kurt, you're fired.
But
Fired. Give me your badge.
why do bad things always happen to me? Every school, just my life, just my luck. Of course this crap happens to me.
Well, when I called the appeal center, they put me on hold for 2 hours, and then some man came on and tried to listen to my thoughts like a freaking psychiatrist instead of trying to do anything. And then he said he'd call me back in 4 weeks, and he never did.
Oh, well, you can submit a formal complaint. Just fill out this form, answer questions 1 through 550, get signatures from both your parents, all your teachers, your postman, and your dog, and put all the personal information in. You should be good.
This is gonna take forever. Why do you need 17 pages of personal info?
Oh, so we can track you, your complaint. So we can track
Can
your
I at
complaint.
least talk to someone
Nope.
about... well, you see,
That would be a no.
Are you good at your
No.
job?
Wait a minute.
Let me see what's going on.
What? No, what? No, excuse me! Have you gone wild?
No, but I've gone Mr. Wild.
How come the arts program... What? What? Sports. Okay.
He put me on hold for 2 hours, and then he started trying to listen to my thoughts like a freaking psychiatrist.
I went to the Louvre last weekend, and I asked one of the French photographers, or one of the people standing there, I was like, hey, can I take a picture? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so I did. And I have to say, the Mona Lisa looks really nice on my living room wall. So the other day, me and my friends were just tossing around a football. And then I was like, let's make this more interesting. So we stopped. Athletic talent get 2 chicks in high school and college. Academic talent get 2 chicks in middle and old age. Now, the artistically talented guys get chicks all the frickin' time. Now, I'm going with them for the most valued. Art. Just the word makes you want to fund it. Band. I want to play with your instruments. Orchestra. You can fiddle my violins.
But
Fired. You're not happy about this.
Art. It's beautiful. Just like you.